Let me ask about Paul Morphy. How good was he? Reddit asked me to ask you about this, and why is he a tragic figure in chess?
Yeah, so Paul Morphy was the best player in the world by a bigger margin, probably than anyone else in recent modern history. He was, I would say, roughly using today's rating, he was around like 2,400 in my opinion, and the other best players were maybe around 2,000 or 2,100 at best. So he's the best player by a bigger margin. Fischer, for example, I think it was about 170-ish points better than Boris Spassky, but Morphy was 300 plus at least. Now, by modern standards, he would probably be a very strong IM, which isn't saying a whole lot. But at the time, no one was even close. So I don't think you can put him in that category of like best ever, simply because he was not the best player for a long enough period of time. As far as why it's tragic, it's very tragic because he essentially quit chess. There was no competition for him. If you think about like Magnus talking about the World Championship and feeling like it's not competitive enough, for Morphy, there was no one who could even beat him probably in individual games. So he ended up quitting chess. I think he was sort of like a lawyer kind of, but he spent probably the last 15, 20 years of his life just doing nothing. Now I have actually seen his grave in New Orleans. I have been to where he lived. I think it's now Brennan's if I'm not mistaken, or it's something like that. So it's very tragic that there was no one who was competitive with him at the time. As far as best ever, I don't think you can say he's the GOAT, but I still think he's in the top 10 if we're using a criteria of players who were better than their peers by a big, big margin.